For the players.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And this is For the Players, the pop culturist PlayStation podcast. Over 40 years of playing PlayStation and 10 plus years in the games mini combined for the 299th time. We'd like to thank you for joining us in this PlayStation conversation.
This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, apparently next week's 300, glad I came back for that one. Come check out our socials, Facebook, Discord, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those links can be found in the description below. I totally forgot we were so close to 300.
Me too. If you too want to be disappointed by episode 300, you can join us live at twitch.tv/popculturist, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening on podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. And if you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/thepopculturist, as well as our merchandise store, popculturist.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. That's right. Next week is episode 300. I totally forgot until this afternoon. So, we always today we watched WWE Night of Champions at my house, and it was myself, the older PopC intern, Craig, the Mullet Show, and we had Dylan and Josh. So it was all the original 3 PopC individuals.
Oh, fuck, if I had known Josh was there, I would have come. You didn't tell me Josh was coming.
Oh, fuck you. Well, he didn't respond until like 20 minutes before. He's like, still happening?
Craig and Dylan. I'm like, nah, I don't know.
So it was the entire old PopC crew. It was awesome. And we were chatting. He's like, how's the show? I'm like, yeah, it's doing too bad. I think we're recording to episode 299 tonight.
So did you tell Josh to come back?
I did. I'm like, do we wheel him out like the Undertaker? No, we watched it at 10 o'clock this morning, MGB, because screw getting up at 3 in the morning to watch a wrestling show.
I mean, to be fair, I also didn't get out of bed till 12:30. So.
Yeah, we'll just wheel Josh out every 100 episodes. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Yeah. Well, welcome back. So it turns out I can talk for 2 weeks in a row for about an hour and 30 flat with the no breaks. I'm an insane person.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
You've had 2 weeks off. How's it been?
To be fair, my job here on the show is to rein you in and to keep things on track and moving.
That's actually very true.
In a timely fashion. How have I been? It's been a hot 2 weeks.
It has. Fill him in.
So obviously, I'm now in my new house. So
Yay!
2 weeks ago, Monday, I got the keys to the house, which is why I didn't record Sunday, because Sunday I spent most of my day packing a truck and putting everything together and doing all that crap. And although you helped me at the end of the day, you're like, hey, you good? I'm like, no, man, I'm tired. I'm going to die right now. And
yeah, because what essentially happened is you had a bunch of people booked. I was hanging out watching Fast and the Furious. You went, hey, my father-in-law tested positive for COVID this morning. He was here yesterday. All my friends have bailed. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to fucking bail on you. So I wrapped threw a mask on, went up to your place and helped you move some shit.
Yeah, so that was amazing. And then, we got our keys Monday afternoon at like 3 o'clock. So we did our first load at like 4:30 after you finished work. You came and helped me unload. My hand is still fucking killing me from when you slammed it into the wall when you were carrying the couch in. It's just super tender still. And then for the last 2 weeks I've just literally been moving all my shit from one house to another.
In one small car,
because my car's been out of commish until last weekend.
So it's just constant car loads for 2 weeks.
Oh, mate, I've spent so much money on petrol and all that other crap. But we're here now. Everything's done at the old house. I'm now just going to hit them back up for my bond.
Mm-hmm.
Get all that stuff rolling. But yeah, it's nice to be here. There's just a bunch of crap in my garage now that I have to slowly sort through. I just spent 20 minutes trying to find my headphones so I could record. Because I didn't know where my headphones were. But yeah, we're slowly getting there. But it's nice. It's nice being in my house now.
Yeah, does it feel different being in your house? Or not yet, maybe?
Not yet. I don't. I mean, it's much nicer. Like, it's cool. This house doesn't make like weird fucking noises all the time, and the heat stays in the house.
Oh God, oh man, heat staying where it's supposed to.
Central heating's also like the best.
Oh yeah.
Water pressure is amazing in this house compared to my old house.
Mm-hmm.
There's also someone not living in my backyard, which is cool.
That's true. Oh, there was a unit in his backyard, by the way. It wasn't just some dude living in his backyard.
Definitely some dude. Definitely some dude.
Yeah, wasn't it like a small family crammed in a 1-bedroom unit?
Nah, so it's just a single dude. It's just a cash dude. But I know when they were doing inspections, there was a family of 5 who inspected this 1-bedroom unit. Apparently, that's how dire the fucking rental market is at the moment.
That's insane.
Although, in saying that, I think the house that I was in has already been leased.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, your house was awesome.
They jacked the price up by $100 a week after we left.
No way.
I think it's like $480 or $490 a week now.
Oh,
granted, I mean, it's a big place, 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. Like, it's not horrible,
place.
but it needs work done.
Oh yeah,
it's very old.
It's the same as my place. My house is quite large for what I pay for, but it's also a piece of shit.
And then obviously once I moved out here, I did all the fun stuff. You know, now that I'm in a new estate, I can get NBN, so I now have a gigabit connection, which is awesome. Bro. But I had to get the NBN people out here again because whoever installed the fucking cable in the house didn't run the test afterwards, so the fiber optic cable in the house was broken.
Rad.
So they had to come out and recable it. Granted, it only took 10 minutes. It was great. So that's all set up and done now. I just need to install a new Ethernet port in this room that I'm in because there's only one in my entire house and it's down the wrong end of the house.
Yeah, see, that's the interesting thing. Like when I built the house that I no longer live in, because I'm partially colorblind. So I remember being like, which kind of cream would you like? I'm like, I don't know. They all look the same. I can't. This one's got blue and this one has yellow in it. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I'm like, so the one thing I could contribute because I'm like stylistically inept. I was like, I'm gonna make sure every room has networking and PowerPoints and I did all the electrical. That was my job.
So I've got a friend who is going to help me run some cable and install some network points, which is cool.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So at the moment, I'm just moving the router after every use, so there's not a gigantic cable running through the house again, like in the old house.
Look, some things never die.
Mainly because I fucking refuse to use anything in wireless.
Yeah, wireless blows. I hate wireless. The second, in that old house, it really created like a baseline in me where I refuse wireless. Must be cable. Must be cable.
And then yesterday I built Hadley's new trampoline.
Oh yeah, kids love trampolines, man.
Got a big fucking honker in the trampoline. Well, it's weight rated for 150 kilos. So
we're going on your trampoline.
Your boy can jump on it as well, which is awesome. But
have a couple drinks, do some flips.
My poor kid is currently sick as fuck, so she can't enjoy her trampoline.
Oh, I can.
She's got like a fucking snotty. It's like a running tap. It's gross.
Ew. Gross.
She.
Yeah, trampoline.
I was lying on the couch earlier this afternoon, and she just comes up to me and goes, and fucking sneezes all over my face.
Kids are gross, man.
Kids are gross. But other than that, yeah, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, apart from the fucking back and forward constantly.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
Glad to finally be here. Glad to be back. I've missed this.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like how you kind of have that time away. You go, even though we kind of just talk to no one really. Like we have a handful of people that are awesome. Like everyone that's here in the chat now, and those you that are listening. Like we're very aware of our small audience, but it's fun, and I do I genuinely miss it when we don't do it. Yeah. Like that break over Christmas was like,
It's also a time for us to hang out.
Yeah, it's true.
Because we don't often do it.
No, and now you live further away again.
Because you're always like, hey man, come watch this. I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where you live down the road from me. We barely hung out. And this was same as with Josh. Like the greatest thing about this is it's an easy way to hang out.
Yeah.
And talk smack and have fun and play cool games.
Speaking of playing cool games, what
Oh,
have you
before we
been
do that,
playing?
I got to talk about what my fucking last 2
Oh
weeks
yeah,
have
what
been.
have you been doing?
Oh,
You've had a pretty
yes.
week too.
Hi. Look, so as we know, we discussed before about my job situation. Well, I have a new job now. I kind of touched upon it last week, but I couldn't because I couldn't really lock anything down at the time. But
Male stripper.
that's correct. I'm a male stripper now. It's a very specific niche market. There's not a lot of it, just like the pop culturist. There's not a lot of people in it. Also, not a lot of money in it. No. So on Friday that just went, I finished up my time at Gen U Gamer. So for those that may not know, Gen U Gamer was a series of programs that assisted youth and young adults help understand themselves and the world around them by using video games or gaming hobbies. It's a program that myself and my very important friend Paris Conti created just shy of 5 years ago. So as we talked about, with some restructures happening at Gen U, it was brought to my attention that my role was likely to be made redundant. So we had conversations around that and we got to where we are today. So during that time, the redundancy was on the table, off the table, on the table, off the table. It was absolute chaos, but I still sought other jobs and that's fine. But thankfully Gen U and I came to a pretty good agreement. Hence I finished up yesterday. So I got 2 weeks off, which I cannot wait to utterly misuse. And then come June 13th, I will officially be the community and content manager for the Man Shake. So that's the meal replacement shake that I use to lose 40 kilos, 30% of my body weight in about 18 months. So all that time that I spent on this show hustling for the Man Shake, all the time that I spent annoying people on my social media about, look at my weight loss. Well, guess what? Now it's my actual job.
Right, now you get paid for it.
Yeah. But I don't have to do it through my account anymore. I can do it through their own account, which is exciting.
That's awesome, man.
But yeah, it was really cool. So it was an ad that they dropped the ad in the community group like a couple of weeks ago. And at the time it was like, in office only in Sydney. I was like, oh, well, that's lame. And I literally commented on it. Well, Sydney. So I left it. And about 2 weeks later, they comment on it going, hey, Ryan, it's now hybrid. Check it out. So I went, okay. And then coincidentally, all this stuff with Gen U happened. So I was like, I'll submit my application. See what happens. Crickets. Quiet. I was like, oh, well, maybe I didn't get it. That's all right. Maybe they wanted someone with more experience. Like, yeah, I'm in the community. I know the product, but it's not the same. A little bit later, at this point, I'd already been offered another job with another company. And I had accepted it, but it was like staggeringly less pay. Great job, like great industry. And I really wish I could have taken up the job. But the pay was a big hesitant. But that was the major thing. And then with all the to and fro with what was going on at Gen U was really tough to commit to it. So, but I was ready to go. I was typing up my resignation because it's what I had to do. Type up my resignation. Then I get a phone call from the Man Shake. So at this point, I'd already had my interview. I had one interview, and they were essentially implying that it was going to be like a 4-stage thing. I actually talked PlayStation during it too. It was fucking awesome because we're talking about how to humanize a brand. Because they were like, "What's some of the problems that you think the Man Shake has?" I said, "Look, it's lost a lot of its human. Like it's human. Its humanity is gone." Like you had Adam McDougall as the owner of the company, the face of the company. When the company got sold to a big part of it got sold to an investment firm, he stepped away. And as a result, the ambassadors like myself and the others at the time, we kind of weren't able to get as involved as we were before. So it lost a lot of its humanity. Like those faces of the brand stepped away. So I was explaining to them, I literally used the example of 2007 PlayStation with if you're in the know, if you know PlayStation, Sean Layden, Shuhei Yoshida, Gio Corsi, Jackie T, Adam Boyes, these are the names of people that know. And that's what humanizes the brand in the same way that when you think of Apple, you used to think of Steve Jobs. When you think of Microsoft, you think of Bill Gates. You don't think of the company, you think of the individual. And if they like that individual, you're more open to reconsidering some of their shortcomings or more open to celebrate their wins. So I was fascinated. I could see them as I talked about all these, old faces of PlayStation. I saw them just glaze over. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to. I won't talk about Jim Ryan, so I don't think they might be a bit too deep. But yes, that's exciting. So it is work from home, as the office is based in Sydney. However, like once every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, I'll have to fly to Sydney, which is exciting because I live right near Avalon Airport. I purchased a new travel bag for my PS5 on Amazon on Friday, so I'm all ready to go. Because we've got all these games we have to play, Max. I have to be able to play them on the road, and the Cube thingy isn't out yet, and it's entirely streaming based. Not happening. So I have to find a way to cart my PlayStation up to Sydney. But yes, I've got 2 weeks off. I really don't know what to do with it. I have a plan to sort of jazz up the behind me a little bit, even though you guys can't really see it anyway. I just want to like try recreate my old studio a little bit. I'm probably gonna paint some minis. I might sleep. Oh, I'm gonna sleep so hard. Tomorrow, like I'm recording commentary for a wrestling show for the first time with Jem. And before the show started, I got a message from her, and someone's asked me to go do a show in July on comms. Everything's coming up Millhouse right now, man. Things aren't that bad. Like, I'm going to sit here and talk about how good I am for a moment. It's fascinating how, because you know how I know we talked about this a while ago, right? When all my sort of shit hit the fan, and I was put into a position where I had to reconsider my life and reflect on who I am and what I want the future to be for me, and how I don't want to be the person that I was, and I want to go on this path of betterment, of self-betterment. Especially over these last couple of weeks, I think I'm doing it. Like, I'm responding better to all these horrible things that are happening, not horrible, like stress-inducing things in my life. But I handled them with with logic, with reasonable emotion. Everything that I've sought out to do to be the better person that I want to be, making it happen. It's exciting. It's scary, but it's exciting. Like this new job is, I'm fucking shitting myself, but I'm also really excited. Because even though my day job for the last 5 years is literally an adult job, the fact that I have to hike interstate and they're happy to pay for me to fly and pay for my comm, it feels really adult. It feels like specialty, you know what I mean? It feels like, holy shit, I have value. And this company sees it enough to fund this for me. As someone who has crippling self-esteem issues and you wouldn't think so, but an absolute lack of self-confidence, to be in that position is insane. And I can't, it's horrifying when that bad part of my brain wants to question it. But my new brain now, my new medicated, therapy-supported brain, it's like, dude, this is going to be a risk, but this may be one of the best risks you ever take. Give it a burl. What's the worst that could happen? And I left Gen U on really good terms. Like, old me would have wanted to burn all the bridges on the way out. Not anymore. I'm very happy with the person I'm becoming, or I have become. It's very good. Very, very good. Let's talk about games, though.
I haven't played. No, I've played. All right. Well, let's. I'll kick things off, I guess. I've been dabbling in Lego 2K Drive.
That reminds me. Hang on. Massive shout out to the team over at 2K Australia for sending me this. Hey, how cool is this? Cool little press kit for Lego 2K Drive. So what's your thoughts on the game, Max? Now, don't be biased by the fact that they sent us a box.
They sent you a box.
That's true.
They didn't send.
So don't believe me. Believe Max.
I was playing this with my daughter the other day. Now, she obviously doesn't play. She's 3 years old. She's just she likes watching me drive around. The game is just dumb fun.
So good, eh?
It's that mixture of. It's got that fake open world of Horizon Forza Horizon,
yeah.
not Horizon, Forza Horizon, mixed with Mario Kart racing.
Yes, that's the exact assessment that I said. Like what last week before,
and it's so much fun. Now it's definitely a kids game because the game's not difficult whatsoever. You can actively not try to win these races, and you'll podium finish.
Yeah, the rubber banding is kind of fucked, good and bad.
But it's just fun. So like, you know, it has like one of the main mechanics is that boost function in the game. So you on my car that I'm using at the moment, twin rockets come out and I fucking zoom. To get boost meter back, you can drift, like similar to that in Mario Kart, or you can just straight up just fucking smash into shit, and you get Lego bricks, which gives you more boost
and health.
So, and health. So it incentivizes you to drive a little bit more recklessly than you otherwise would in any other racing game, because you don't get penalized for leaving the race course. You do get a bonus. Now, granted, most of the time you leave the race course, it does slow your car down visibly, but there is a dedicated button where you can just jump, similar to that in Mario Kart. But if you jump and boost, you can jump over most gaps or any unfriendly terrain that slows you down, and you get the boost by going on that unfriendly terrain anyway.
Yep.
So most of the time, it is a win-win. Most of those things you're like, I think I can make that jump, you can probably make that jump. Now, apart from just the races, you do have those little kind of mini games similar to that of Forza Horizon, where they've got their, like, you know, beat the speed camera or do the sick jump. In this, it's I did one yesterday which was hilarious, and it was defend generators by drifting into aliens that were invading the area. So you do these little things, and you unlock your Lego bucks or whatever the currency is. I think it's Lego bucks. It could be something different. And you can buy bricks to pimp out your car, because you can design the car how you want it, because it is also a Lego game. I haven't gone too deep into the building side of it yet. I'm just enjoying driving around, racing, blowing people up. It is great fun, and it would be really good for younger kids who are just starting out and enjoy those games like Mario Kart or Crash Team Racing or any of those kart racer style games. Lego being a big brand that is very well known and loved by a lot of people, it's an easy way to get into this genre of gameplay, and it helps that the game is fun.
Very much so. So my son has spent the better part of the last 2 days. So he was with me for this weekend. So we spent most of yesterday playing it. He spent most of this morning before we started watching the wrestling. And then he played it for a little bit afterwards. And one of the big things that I noticed, and I touched upon this when we talked about this last week and the week before, is the game has this incredible thing where you feel that you can always be in motion. So when you've got a car or a vehicle, I should say, that can transform between on-road, off-road, and water, like you feel wherever you go, you're fine. You're not going to slow down. And then because, as you mentioned, the game gives you active benefits from drifting, from running into shit. Like, you could just go. And, like, pretty sure I saw my kid, like, not take his finger off the accelerator for about 10 minutes. Just in the free world, just going nuts. It was awesome. And then we jumped into some races and stuff as well. And, you know, because he's, 6, going on 7. So, like, he's still getting the hang of it. And he himself is, as we talked recently, he's been diagnosed with ADHD himself. He's with the ADHD. So it was really cool to sort of see him work on the game today and when he was being medicated. Because it allowed him to sort of really focus and have that self-ambition. In that, he gave a race a go, came 8th. And normally he'd be like, this is fucked. He's 6, we didn't say fucked. He may have. He's like, I won't do it anymore. I'm done. But then watch him go. I'm like, hey, try again. He goes, all right. So he tries, gets 6th. Tries again, gets 4th. And then 3rd. And then 2. And then 1st. And then 1st. And then 1st. And then 1st. You know what I mean? And it was really sort of great watching him actively get better at the game. Not just because of his brain, but because he was trying and he was learning the game in terms of, like, we were just talking about how, hey, don't boost into a corner. You drift and then you boost out of it. And that will give you your big go into the straight. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Sort of watching those, like, cog click over as he's, oh, yeah, cool, boom. You know, and the rubber banding's fucked in that, like, you really should have an incredible lead. Joke's on you, out of nowhere, someone's back. And you're like,
I mean, it has the same benefit of, similar to the Mario Kart, that the further down the list you are, the better the items and weapons you get in the race. So it's detrimental.
But I still feel like that you can get a substantial lead in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Where here it's like, I've cleared the path, I've blown apart everyone in front of me. How were they there? Like, every win feels like a just win, not a clear win. At least for me, is what I'm finding. But that's just thing. But overall, I still think the game's fantastic. I haven't dived into the car building yet because, for me, I'm like, ooh.
It's daunting.
It's a little too meticulous because it's like, you can build it brick by brick. I'm like, oh no. I only like building Lego sets because they come with instructions. Is there no instructions? Oh my god. You know, but the game's great. It's bright, it's colorful, it's stupid, and my son is getting a real big kick out of it. And that's like, as a dad, and I'm sure you can understand this, like, if I can share one of my greatest hobbies, one of the things I love most in this world, apart from him, with him, absolute win. Like, today we played games, we watched wrestling, we did some drawing, we did some, you know, coloring in. Like, we had and we watched a movie that he was really excited for. And then, like, it's being able to share my shit with my son is there's nothing in the world like it. And the fact that he's like, you know, this game's amazing. Like, yeah, it is, bud. It's awesome. What's you been playing?
I'm just casually looking across to this screen so I can see what's in my recent playlist. I have been playing the Street Fighter 6 demo.
Oh yeah. That's out next week.
That comes out this week.
Yeah, holy shit.
So I've been playing the World Tour mode. Created a hilarious character, and did the first few little introduction things. So this is their take on the story mode that, you know, a lot of other fighters have been doing for quite some time. Street Fighter's like, hey, let's do it.
Was it Dragon Ball Burst Limit was one of the ones where you could make your own character and you could exist within the world and you wander on around and...
Yeah, I think one of the earlier Mortal Kombats did it, where you could create a character.
It wasn't Burst Limit, it was something else. Xenoverse.
Budokai, one of them. There's been so many Dragon Ball Z fighting games.
I know, Park.
But yeah, so, you know, I made a character, jumped in, and there's just this over-the-top flamboyant woman that you speak to at the very start of the game. She's like, hey, I'm way fucking stronger than you. How about you go beat up some random fools on the street and come talk to me when you get stronger? I'm like, okay. So you get put in this 3D space and you walk around, and it's just, if you want to fight someone, you just hit square instead of X to talk to them. And then all of a sudden there's like, all right, let's fucking go. They drop all their shit and you're fighting on the street, like some kind of street fighter.
Like some sort of street fighter, yeah.
Some kind of street fighter. So like I beat up this woman with her groceries. That was cool. And then the next person absolutely demolished me, because it turns out, and I didn't notice this at the time, right above their names they have what level they are. Yeah. And I just got my absolute shit kicked in by a guy that was level 5 and I didn't realize it.
What level were you?
I was 1, because I only won one fight, so I just got absolutely stomped, and I'm like, okay.
I mean, they're NPCs, yeah?
Yeah, they're just NPCs. So they're just random character models. They're not like named characters from the previous Street Fighter titles. So you and I got to play this at PAX last year. The game is still incredibly tight.
Does it look better? Because like we noticed a bit of like anti-aliasing stuff in the back.
It does look better.
Bit of anti-aliasing, what's it called?
It's still very, very bright.
Ooh, that's good.
Compared to because obviously my go-to fighting game has always been Mortal Kombat, which is very dark comparatively. Character models look fantastic. The fighting is a lot
Reverend Park comes in Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
Yeah.
And Soul Calibur 3. Oh, God, I love it. Soul Blade on PS1. Like, that was a series I was into so hard. Oh.
It's a lot faster paced than I remember Street Fighter ever being. Yeah. I don't know if it's just because I haven't been...
Street Fighter's always been fast, I find.
One of those... Because I think the last Street Fighter I played was literally like fucking Super Street Fighter 2 on SNES. Like... I fell off Street Fighter hard when Mortal Kombat became my go-to. But this has got me excited. This year alone for fighting games, assuming that both Tekken and Mortal Kombat come out this year. This is a really, really good year for the genre. And so far, Street Fighter is setting the bar high, in my opinion, for what's to come.
Yeah,
So
look,
I'm very much looking forward to the full release.
I haven't jumped into it because I'm not a Street Fighter guy. I've always been a Tekken guy. I am keen to give it a burl. And I've expressed my stance on Mortal Kombat on here before, so I'm not really excited for the new one. But give me some hot Tekken action. Ooh yeah, ooh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've been playing a lot more of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, so I'm a lot further in that now than I was before. Game is still great. I think there's been a couple patches since, because I'm having none of the... All just happens to be the world that I'm on. None of the performance issues that I had before. Screen tearing is down. Those frame hitches are just sort of not there. It's running fantastically. I'm really getting a kick out of it. It's tons of fun. A couple, X amount of hours ago, I got the cross guard, so I now have the Claymore, fucking Kylo Ren saber. I can now Force Dash. A bunch of cool shit. It's exciting.
Nice.
Story's better. It's a lot darker and heavier than Fallen Order was. I'm starting to rebuild on my my cast. My little saloon is doing well. I now have a really cool garden. I'm finding little seeds everywhere. I'm having a blast. The game is really cool.
Of course you're enjoying it because it's got farming. Speaking of farming, new season of Diablo 2, new season of Destiny 2 launched this week.
Oh man,
so
dude! All right,
I'm back on my Destiny 2 farm. Do you want to quickly gush about the PlayStation crossover?
Holy shit! By the way, so they announced over the last week these PlayStation themed skins for the characters. Like the Warlock is the the classes.
Okay. So Titan has been given the God of War treatment.
Yes.
Hunters have been given the Horizon treatment, and Warlocks have been given the Ghost of Tsushima treatment.
Them alone, very similar to me almost playing Fortnite because of those skins. It's almost having the same effect here.
Like fucking $20 skins too. They're so expensive.
Wait, each?
Yeah, I don't think you can buy them as a single pack. I think they're each. Yeah.
Well, look, there's a higher chance of me playing Destiny than there is of me playing Fortnite. So spending the money on the Destiny skins.
I don't fucking play Titan whatsoever, so Titan can go jump.
Yeah, but it's the God of War one.
Yeah, I know.
I might just buy them for funsies.
Anyway, so I dove back in. So this is the season of the Deep.
Right.
So we are back on Titan. Titan as a location got fucking sunsetted what feels like 30 years ago, and we're back. We're going deep into the oceans of Titan. So there's bullshit areas where you have to fucking Puck just reminded me in the chat, ghosts and sparrows are themed after The Last of Us. So if you pull out your ghost, it makes a fucking clicker sound because it's a clicker ghost.
Oh my god, I have to play Destiny 2. I'm such a mark for this shit.
So yeah.
Can I email someone? Like, what can I do? I needs this, Max. I needs it.
What can I do? Yeah, so I haven't played too much.
Who fucking cares about what's going on in the latest season update? It's the skins.
Mate, the new dungeon dropped on Friday and I still haven't done it. I'm actually hoping to do it after this show.
Oh, okay.
I was planning on doing it last night, but I missed a message, and then by the time I received the message and saw it, he's like, it's too late now. I'm just like, fuck you, then I'll watch Quantum Mania, which was a disappointment.
Oh, what a poo film, by the way. So bad. So some parts are really good, and then some of it's just poo.
I mean, I think my comment was this entire movie happened because Janet's a piece of shit and just didn't talk.
Yeah, if she just went, look, I smashed Bill Murray once, would have been fine.
Anyway, enough of that. So I've been playing a little bit of Destiny. I've actually been dabbling in a lot of stuff. I reinstalled Demon Souls. I played that a little bit last night. until my wife came in to get the fucking shit out of me and I died to a boss. And I'm like, well, I'm not playing this anymore. I re-downloaded Elder Scrolls Online because there's a new expansion next week that I'm interested in, and it feels like this is a great time to jump back in. I logged in and I'm like, apparently I had like $15,000 worth of the premium currency, so I just fucking bought a bunch of DLCs that I was missing.
Nice.
So that was cool.
The Elder Scrolls is the one that always I consider playing. Like there are three kind of like MMOs that catch my attention, right? There's DC Universe Online, which I haven't gone back to because it's not aged very well.
It has not aged very well at all.
No.
Well, I think there was rumors not long ago that they were rebuilding the engine, or they were going to.
Well, they did it a little while ago. They when they came to next gen, they completely decked it out again. But its core game mechanic, like, when I played it back in the day, it's awesome. But things have come a long way since then. Star Wars: The Old Republic, because I like Star Wars, and Elder Scrolls, because I don't like WoW because I don't know WoW's lore. I know Elder Scrolls lore.
Elder Scrolls is cool, but it is very daunting.
Oh yeah,
because there's so much because I'm essentially, despite the fact that I played it before, because I haven't played it in so long, it kind of treated me as a new player. So I did the tutorial area, and then the NPC's like, "Where do you want to go? Do you want to go to Daggerfall? Do you want to go over here to Elsewhere? Do you want to go over here to this place? Do you want to go and do this fucking thing?" And I'm like, I don't know. You make the decision and I'll just fucking do it.
Yeah. So like for me, I'd be like, I'll go to where the Khajiit live because that sounds fun.
Yeah, it literally hit me with like, here's 8-9 different fucking quest lines you can do. Pick one. I'm like, I don't know. That's too much choice. I don't know what to do.
I kind of want to jump in now that you're playing.
Yeah, come play. I got a level 1 character. Let's do this.
I'm pretty sure I've said this before. You and I say this a lot.
Didn't you say you were playing Destiny again like 3 weeks ago?
No, I downloaded it, but I haven't jumped back into it yet.
MGB puts in the chat, Final Fantasy XIV is like the one MMO I'd really want to play. I've played the shit out of that game. I think... Here, let me just quickly pull up my Steam list. This is how long I've been playing Final Fantasy Online.
Oh no, you're about to weep out on us, aren't you?
I have 18,000 hours played, and this is my 5th account.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Final Fantasy XIV was great. Yeah. I played it before it was good.
Yeah, but for you, because once again, like I think the difference here is you have a connection to that lore. You love that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No idea. No
idea. But I think that's pretty much all I've been playing. Yeah. Is like just bits and pieces here, and they're still playing DMZ. DMZ is the new game that I'm married to.
I deleted it. I literally deleted it off my console.
We have found a foolproof way to squad up inside to find matches with 2 teams of 3, so we can make super squads every round now.
Oh, you remember
it is. So yeah, all you need is 2 PC players to search at the same time.
Reverend Park, that is correct. He did say 18,000 hours. Was 1,800 or 18,000?
1,800.
Oh, thank Christ.
But again, this is my 5th account, so it's probably 1,800 times 5.
Because you go until you like get cracked out on like MMO heroin. You go, yeah, I have to quit.
Yeah. I quit. The last time I quit was when I had my kid, and I'm like, I don't have the time to play this game anymore and still spend a monthly fee on it.
Well, I do have 2 weeks off. I could waste it playing Elder Scrolls.
Come play Elder Scrolls with me. Could be fun.
Maybe.
Other
than that, is there anything else? Because I've been pretty...
not really.
Apart from our standard GM, like our WWE2K23 GM mode, which we play each and every week. I'm actually losing at the moment, which is untoward. I don't like it, Max. I can't cut good promos on my friends and my partner if I'm losing. Makes it very hard.
Fair.
I'm like, this is how good I am. Like, you're losing. I'm like, damn it. All right. Anything else?
Nah, that's
Cool,
it.
let's get to the section we call Inform the Players. We tell you about what happened this week in PlayStation. Now, Max, let's just go, do you want to just go straight into the...
Nothing happened this week.
No, not much at all. So,
go straight to the quick bits.
PlayStation Showcase happened this week on Thursday. I live reacted to it. That's on the YouTubes now. We did it here on the Twitch. Let's just go through it. Now, I did discuss my thoughts on the stream itself, but I have the list here. These are the notes that I took during the showcase, which made me happy because I was talking about this with Phoebe, my partner, and I was explaining sort of how I miss. There's a particular, there was something fun about covering E3 back in the day. You know, all the showcases up in the middle of the night, you know, taking notes, recording pods, reacting, all these things that I just truly miss doing. And the reason we don't do it often is because PlayStation is so quiet. So it was kind of like you're returning to an old, like an old suit, an old shirt that's super comfortable, and I remember this shirt. Oh, it's so nice. What a nice shirt this is. So it's good to sit here and take notes and write. And before we jump in though, you've watched it all in full, yeah?
I watched it with you. I was awake.
Oh, you did too, because you were in the chat. That's right. I guess, do you want to do a little, without going into specifics, overall thoughts, and then we'll break it down into its parts?
I've become cynical. It was all right. It was all right. Now, there were a few things that were awesome. There were a few things where they just weren't my cup of tea. There was a lot less first-party shit than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I expected there to be way more first-party stuff than there was. But yeah, it was funny. I think I posted in our chat not long after, but shortly after the showcase, Microsoft were like, "Hey, most of these are fucking coming to Xbox too." They posted a picture like, "Hey guys, this isn't just Sony stuff." So it was a shame that a lot of the stuff, although it's good that it's going everywhere, I was hoping for more first party stuff or some more exclusives. This is the first showcase since the PS5 showcase?
Nah, it's this first year in.
Okay. So it felt a little lackluster. Now there was shit there that we expected. We knew that Final Fantasy was going to show up. It is a big console exclusive for Sony. They've been messaging it pretty hard lately. It's out in 3 weeks.
Yeah, not even.
Not surprising it was there. Spood's been there. Again, no brainer. If it is coming out in October is the rumor mill. Makes sense for them to show it off now. I was hoping for a Kojima Death Stranding 2 thing. But again, he's also best buds with Keeley, so it's probably going to be next week. It's going to be next week at Games Fest. But yeah, I think I was just hoping for more first party stuff to be shown.
Yeah, and I agree. For me, it was fine.
Yeah,
it wasn't as bleh as some of the internet's sort of yelling about it, but it was fine. And I think a lot of the issues that I have with it, I'm aware are expectations. But if you be absolutely quiet for 2 years and say nothing, and then you proceed to not, tell us anything past this year. It sets up they once again at no point did they say these things were happening, so they created a false expectation. But by doing nothing, it creates an expectation. We fill that void without going. If there's an empty room and you go, "Oh, what's all these things in this room? What could this?" It's like Schrodinger's box. Could it be amazing things in here? Don't know. We have no idea.
Well, there was an article I was reading earlier that goes on to say that Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming, who accurately leaked the existence of the Project Q handheld, was there's a few trailers and stuff that I've seen that I expected to be at that event that weren't. So I wonder what could have been there, but is being held off to be part of Opening Night Live.
Yeah, look, I think we'll see some stuff that go there.
Obviously, PlayStation is still taking part in Summer Games Fest. to a degree. So it'll be interesting to see what they held off there to put there.
Yeah, because one of the quotes that they said will blow your balls off. None of this blew my, like, a couple of things made me pop. That's most definitely true. But like as a showcase, it did not blow my balls off at all. I'm actually I'm overall pretty disappointed. And the more I think about it, the more I go, ah. But admittedly, there were some things here that build intrigue, if anything. But as Buddy says in the chats, mid AF. It is most definitely a very mid showcase. It felt like State of Play Plus. It was slightly better than a State of Play, but it wasn't quite there. Let's jump in. Let's go into the bits and pieces, right? So it starts off with, which I think is genuinely a good place to start, because we talked about first party stuff. One of the things we've been constantly talking about, like all these new acquisitions, what are they doing? Now we know. So Haven, it's the studio out of Canada, helmed by Jade Raymond, previously of Ubisoft. She's known for her work on Assassin's Creed and Watch Dogs in a producer capacity. Well, FairGames, one word, $ for an S. FairGame $ looks to be exactly an Ubisoft game. It reads very much like Watch Dogs. It's sort of this based around this idea of like it's a multiplayer live service PvP game where, you know, it's groups of people coming together to take out huge billionaires or whatever.
It's Payday.
It's Payday. But I also love Payday, so it's fine. What's your thoughts, Max?
MGB in the chat, this Payday-like game should be really fun. Yeah, it's fun. It looked alright. It had I enjoyed the look of it aesthetically. It looked good. But again, with games like that, it's made or broken by the people you play with. Like,
yes.
A shit game can be fun if you have the right group with you.
Well, most definitely, because like I want to play Payday all the time, and no one ever wanted to play it, and it bummed me out because the game was fine. It was really fun.
I played it like twice. I wasn't a huge fan of.
Yeah. So, look, I think it certainly looks good. However, it's complete cinematic trailer, no actual gameplay. So, like, we can't actively get excited about it because this could be complete fucking bullshots. You know what I'm saying? Like, for using an old expression. I'm excited, but yeah, it looks like Watch Dogs. And knowing that they've got like one of the creative directors, one of the individuals on it was the sort of key visual designer for the likes of Watch Dogs. It makes sense what comes over here, knowing that it's based in Canada, Ubisoft Montreal right around the corner, like a lot of people that came over from Ubi to there. And with a name like FairGame $, like I was listening to a podcast and they were sort of mentioning, like, it has that stupid ass Ubisoft naming convention. It's like X-Defiant. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a dumb name. FairGame $ is a dumb name. FairGames, great idea, great name. I mean, look, I'll check it out mostly because it's first party and it's part of what we do is to give it a burl. And I'm excited. I'm glad to see that we saw the likes of Haven here. It did shock me pretty hard to see them open the show. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking cool. Which is interesting. Then next came out fucking old Jimbo. I literally wrote Jimbo. Old crying Jim Ryan came out looking like a real out of touch dude. Talks about, hey, we're here for a showcase, get excited, things are happening. Yeah, man. He talks about, things are happening, I'm Jim Ryan, blah, 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 does all the Jim Ryan things. I really don't think Jim Ryan has, like, the personality or screen presence to, like, be up front and center. Yeah, how you doing, fellow kids, says MGB. That's the energy that it felt like. He's like, oh, man, how good are games? Now, look, we discussed this before. Like, I have no issue with Jim Ryan being, like, a business front-facing person, right? Like, just because you work in the games industry doesn't mean you need to play games or know games. It's a games industry. If you have industry or business knowledge, it'll actually work in your favor. As the industry itself, even though it's a weird mix between creative and like capitalism, having someone that can understand one side and being surrounded by others that know the other side is actually a really good way to run shop. And PlayStation clearly know that because they're doing incredibly well right now. You know, console sales are moving. Like, a big report came out this week about how many PS Plus subscribers there are. they're doing gangbusters in a lot of ways, which is why it's surprising that this showcase is so subpar, in my belief. But anyways, next up was Helldivers 2. It's once again made by Arrowhead. It is coming this year, 2023, and it's coming to both PS5 and the PC. So I actually re-downloaded Helldivers this week because I have it, but I've never played it. And I know that the original is a sort of a 2.5D twin stick shooter, like a brutally hard twin stick shooter apparently. Helldivers 2, which we originally knew about from the Nvidia leaks back in the day, it looks fascinating because it's now a third-person over-the-shoulder shooter. PlayStation's bread and butter. It had a very interesting Starship Troopers energy to it, especially because it kind of did like a, oh, hello, you're going to die a lot, and we're part of this core, and blah, 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 blah. And it had like an interesting energy to it. And like, the video capture that they had at the front looked fantastic. That dude looked, for a moment I had to do that. Is this a real dude or is this a CG man? Turns out it was a CG man, but it looked really fun. They didn't from memory. There was it kind of looked like this is going like bullet sponge and monsters and stuff. And look, that might be interesting. It could be interesting. I know that's very much a Max thing. Like, obviously, I got a kick out of that style of gameplay with the likes of Outriders and The Division. So, it's no reason that Helldivers 2 wouldn't do that as well. But I guess it's a sort of a give and take thing on that one. Knowing that there's such a departure from the original game and having not played the original game in a very long time or at all. I don't think I've played it. I'm gonna say because I'm unsure. I don't believe I've played it, so I get that in like Dead Nation because I know they came out around about the same time. I know I played some Dead Nation, but yeah, coming across the PC as well, which makes sense. Hence the Nvidia leak. This was probably the only major second-party exclusive I think on the list, but we'll check on with that. But now Max is still off tending to his family, so we'll keep moving on forward. We then saw another gameplay trailer for Immortals of Aveum, which is the game coming out of EA and Ascendant Studios. It's coming on July 2023. So it is more of what we already knew. Now, Max and I were very lucky that EA provided us a preview opportunity earlier in the year. We watched a bunch of gameplay footage. So a lot of this wasn't really sort of new to us. And then they did have that big showcase, about a month or so ago now. So, cool, I know Max has a big boner for it because I know he quite likes the idea of sort of like a first-person magic shooter. Not for me as much. I'm gonna give it a try, but like the field of view seems really close, and there's like hands everywhere, and there's a lot of movements that I feel that impede my vision. But the EA stuff, especially is interesting. We'll see how it goes. It's a month away, 2 months away. Maybe we might see some more. The second I get my hands on it, I'll be able to make a different call. Buddy Watson jumps in to add on to Helldivers 2 in the chat here on Twitch. Says, on announcement, I rolled my eyes, but in the same breath, Housemarque's jump from Alienation to Returnal was amazing, and something I wouldn't have preferred when announced. That is very true. That is very true. I do remember when, Housemarque did announce they were doing something similar. I was like, ooh, it's interesting. Now, mind you, Returnal was just way too hard for me, and I enjoyed it until I couldn't. Alienation I enjoyed. Oh, excuse me. I did quite like Matterfall. That was really fun. Side-scroller. But yeah, it is quite a departure from it. And I would imagine that when you've got the likes of Housemarque, with this being a second-party exclusive, I would assume that Housemarque would be there in some sort of consultory sort of capacity. Sort of be like, hey, these are some things that we did when we transitioned from this to this. And these are the benefits that we saw. These are disadvantages we saw. That's very presumptuous on my part, but if you're getting second-party support, you would imagine that there would be his money and his physical support. Next up was Ghostrunner II. It's coming out on 2023. It's published by 505 and developed by One More Level. I did not play Ghostrunner 1. It did look really cool. I'm pretty sure I got it as part of a PS Plus, but it's essentially like an interesting sort of free runner, like very Mirror's Edge, but cyberpunk with a sword. They seem to have upped the ante on this one as well by adding a motorbike. That was cool. Excuse me. But yeah, once again, it's mostly because I don't have the reflexes to play a game like this. I got my old man energy, and I'm not someone that gets a kick out of like speed running stuff. I just don't have those reaction speeds, right? Buddy in the channel said I got the plats so quick and addictive. Yeah, I imagine like the addictive nature of it, like running those loops every time, or because I say loops in that my understanding is that you will die often because it's a lot of very trial and error sort of platforming. Like, oh, let's give it a go. Oh, cool. All right, well, let's not try that. Didn't work. Let's try this. Let's try that. And go on and so on. Next up was Phantom Blade Zero. It's from a Chinese studio called 5Games or S Games. My handwriting's disgusting. Pretty sure it's S Games. Apparently, Phantom Blade is a mobile series that has now made its way onto consoles in the look of Phantom Blade Zero. It is, to me, it looked like a Soulsborne. Very. Oh, hey, Max.
Sorry about that.
That's all good, brother. What's your thoughts? So we were just touching on Hellblade 2, but we'll go back. Helldivers 2, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I mentioned in the chat on the morning, Helldivers was never my thing. It's like the one cooperative game that just didn't tickle my fancy. This looks cool. I'll try it out. But I have a feeling that if it's similar to that of the first one, I doubt it'll tickle me again this time.
Yep. Immortals of Aveum, still keen?
Still keen.
That was easy.
Still keen. Yeah, still keen. Battle Mage, you serious? Time out.
Ghostrunner 2?
Yeah, Ghostrunner 1 was awesome. I love the fast-paced action of that game. It's like a speedrunner's dream. More of the same, please.
And we were just touching on Phantom Blade Zero. So as I was saying, it has this very like aesthetic of like a Dark Soulsy, very grey, very black and white. But it looks like it had a lot of Sekiro influence in that, like, obviously it's very set in that sort of feudal Japan-y sort of time. There's a dude with a robo arm. It looked flashy and cool, but I really doubt it plays as good as it looks.
It was the first thing that we saw that really blew my skirt up.
Hot.
But yeah, for all the reasons you just said, like it does have that feel of a Souls-like game. It ticks all the boxes for me.
My problem with it is I looked at oh, this looks cool and flashy, but like a lot of these moves, I'm like, I don't see how that working. Like it works for the made-up scenario of this trailer.
Yeah,
but I'm like, how would this run in gameplay? And as I mentioned, it looks like a game I've seen 1,000 times before, and I appreciate and I love that people really enjoy that Soulsborne aesthetic or Japanese, like Japan samurai aesthetic. I think both are so overdone.
Yeah,
that if there was any remote interest, it's gone for me.
Nah, it's still good for me.
One that made me nearly.
I don't think it would ever overstay its welcome for me.
Yeah, but yeah, I already have a pretty built-in disdain for like samurai thing, mostly because of my firm stance on weeb culture and my disgust around the sort of almost like eroticization of like samurai culture. And like Japanese culture in general, the fetishization of it all. It's like, oh man, the samurai were like ultimate men. I'm like, no, you're just a fucking dork with a neckbeard and a sword. Not you, Max. Wow, you don't have a sword.
There's one in my car. There may be one in the garage too.
Oh,
Yeah,
god damn.
Okay.
Speaking of swords, though, the next one that made me actually like nearly shit myself for a hot second was Sword of the Sea. So it's from Giant Squid. They're known for the individual, the creative director. Sorry, the artistic director was from Giant Squid. So they did Abzu, The Pathless, and the guy did Journey as well. So this game looked exactly like Journey. I was like, holy fuck, is this like a sequel to Journey? And then I got my heart like started beating, and then I went, oh, it's just stylistically like that. That's still cool. It's one of the most beautiful things about Journey was its art style, and then it was backed up by this incredible mechanic-driven storytelling, and you just sort of didn't know. You had to sort of, gain how it all went down by playing the game and just the world and like this non-spoken connection you would have with these players. It was brilliant, and they just really looked to take in a lot of the influence of those three games, whether it be Abzu, The Pathless, or the Journey, because it's got that sort of sand temple-y aesthetic, and then it went into an underwater sort of thing, which was incredibly Abzu, and the fact that you spend a big hunk of this game like surfing on a sword, that seems to have that endless runner energy of The Pathless. Now, you loved The Pathless, Max, from memory.
No, I played a little bit of it. I actually played The Pathless through. I played it the worst possible way to play it.
Is that the way? It didn't like we
I
buy
played it in
that
Apple Arcade. No, so that wasn't The Pathless. That was because it reminded me of that game. So The Pathless was the free runner with the bow and arrow. That was on PlayStation Plus, and it was part of the Apple Play thing.
Then what's the
Apple
one I'm
Arcade.
thinking of then?
You're thinking of... I literally just turned the PlayStation to try and fucking work that out, but I don't have it installed at the moment. It is called... Oh... Keep talking. Give me a second.
Yeah, because like there was one, and then you had to like skate along like bars.
Yeah,
and
so
shit.
that was like that was a mixture of Shadow of the Colossus mixed with
because I remember it was when I was living at your house, and I remember like we got it and you were playing it, and I was like, this looks great for you. It's very much not a Ryan game.
Yeah, it's called. Let's see if I can find it.
It'd be on the PopC accounts to pro-check your trophies.
That's what I'm doing now. I'm there.
But yeah, like I thought that was The Pathless. Is that not The Pathless?
Or Solar Ash.
There you go. Well, I changed that plan. Well,
no, slightly different.
All that like 3 minutes of conversation there, nothing.
Yeah, I played The Pathless on my iPad with a PlayStation controller.
Interesting.
Wasn't
that's probably not the best way to play it. That's a bummer. But anyway, this looks fucking fantastic. Totally going to play it. Next up was the Talos Principle II. So the Talos Principle 1 is apparently this pretty cool little puzzle game, very similar to The Witness. Never played it. Looked pretty cool. This one looks fine.
Yeah, apparently it's like a fantastic puzzle game. I never played the first one.
In my head, when I think of the Talos Principle, I think of Thomas Was Alone for some reason. I think of that same like narrative. The dude like talking over it, in that lively British accent sort of thing. That wasn't a British. I don't know the fuck accent that was, but it wasn't that. But yeah, the next one was Neva, which was coming out in 2024. It's very similar to Okami in terms of its style, with this weird deer, dog, wolf, tree hybrid thing. And it really was like, hey, you know how you sometimes feel for animals? Well, this one's dead. It felt very artsy. Felt very much in the same sort of vein as like Seasons, which we know is a story that came out, a game that came out recently. So it's like, well, we need to hit our like fancy artsy aesthetic game of the show, and that was it. Did it do anything for you?
Nah, not at all.
But yeah, it was the team who made Gree or Gris, which I have not played.
Gree was cool. I played that.
Next up was Cat Quest Pirates of the Purribean. I scoffed at the name. Apparently, like the Cat Quest series are like a huge thing. They've been around for a yonk. They'd be like a good, not yonks, but a yonk, just one. This one's coming out in 2024. Like I know Phoebe shit herself because it looks like her. It looks like my Charlie. She has a cat named Charlie. Looked exactly like it, and So that's probably a big given. She'll probably want to check it out. So I'll have to play it.
I think my comment was, what the fuck's with Sony and their obsession with fucking cats?
There's two kitty cat games in this one.
There was
three kitty cats.
Multiple cat games, and then like Stray and all that.
It does. It looks absolutely silly. Let's talk about a game that looks like it's going to suck absolute asshole. Foamstars. This is coming from Square. It is literally just...
It's Splatoon.
It's Splatoon with foam, which seems way more sexually... Like, Splatoon has, like, fucking fanfic up the wazoo, right? This game looks like it is just sexually charged in nature. We've got chicks in, like, crop tops with open jackets and buff dudes and, like, cat ears and everyone going, ah! And then just soaping each other up. I'm like, I guarantee you someone is pulling their dick to that trailer in that moment. Or have since. That game looks absolutely fucking horrible. And literally the second I looked at it, I'm like, wow, this games as a service is going to die almost instantly. Like, it had the same sort of energy like Rumbleverse or that Dodgeball one. Like, oh, that's a cool principle, but you are going to die.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things that it depends on is it a free-to-play game? How is it monetized? How does it actually play?
It's a Square game, and as we know, Square have got super, like, wrist deep in NFTs and shit. Okay. This game's gonna be fucking gross.
It's literally sexy Splatoon.
No, the Marshall is correct. It is slutty Splatoon.
I'm all down for sexy Splatoon.
Ew. Next up, this game looked fucking mentally good. The Plucky Squire, it's coming out this year. It's from an Australian studio, which is exciting. So it kind of gave me this sort of, like, a look of, like, there's a show my kid used to watch called PopC, which is this cool little, like, European animated show voiced by Stephen Fry. Had a lot of PopC energy, and very similar to, say, like, Mario Odyssey, and I think Link's Awakening? I'm not sure. As well as, like, the Pedestrian. Like, it's this sort of this mix between flat 2D puzzles and then 3D puzzles, and, like, the seamless transition between the two. It looks awesome. I'm going to play the living fuck out of it, and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it.
Cool.
The Plucky Squire do it for you?
It did look alright.
Did you have to pull it up just so you could remember?
Maybe.
That's fine.
I didn't take notes like you did.
That's true.
No, it was cool. I liked that. I like the art style.
New houses makes weird noise, does it? Huh?
No. I think Ali's in the kitchen.
Well, that's true. Your house is a lot more open plan than it was before.
Yeah, I mean the kitchen's literally right there,
yeah,
up against this wall. So, I'm where I'm recording now. I'm in the center of the house. Mm-hmm. So like just to the right of me is like Hadley's room, bathroom, thingo. And then right there is the living room, kitchen.
I still don't know why you chose that area to be your studio space. Like, why didn't you make one of the fucking bedrooms and make that area like Hadley's play area?
Because my fucking desk doesn't fit in the rooms.
That's a good answer. That's a very good answer. Yeah.
Mainly. And I guess I can say it now. We have a second kid on the way, and I kind of need both the rooms now.
That's true. Max has a second kid on the way. We can talk about it now.
The NDA's up.
So this is fucking, the kid could live in the central living room. Why not?
Well, it was funny. So when we first checked out this place, once we did our final walkthrough, we said to Hadley, we're like, which room do you want? And she fucking walked in here. She's like, this is Hadley's room. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah. This is baby 2.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why I'm in here.
That makes more sense. Yeah. Well, now that you say that, because I forgot. Next up was a game called Teardown, which is like a voxel sort of Minecraft-y.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, sort of stylized.
The one that I've been calling Voxelcraft.
Yeah, it's just fast and the voxelist. Like, it's just, hey, that's like the entire game mechanic is, let's take a vehicle, strap some rockets to it, blow up a building. That seems to be the only gimmick for this entire fucking game, and it looks poo.
Sounds like every Tears of the Kingdom video I've seen online.
Yeah. It looks horrible. Next one. I didn't know what this was straight away, But if you go and watch watch my live reactions, like you can see the second that I realize it and I shit myself. Next up was Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. So it is the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake we've been hearing about for literally ever. It look like it's a cinematic thing, and in the same way that I was like, we don't get too excited about FairGames because it's a cinematic trailer, I have to put that rule into place here, even though I'm like, yeah, Metal Gear Solid Delta, woo! I'm playing so fucking bad.
I mean, they did come out and say, hey, we've got all the fucking voice actors reprising their roles. Like, it is a true remake, which is cool.
Yeah, which is exciting. And right now we have no idea who's working on the title because in all the statements since, it's just been the development team. Like, Konami's name isn't on it. Understandably, Kojima's name isn't on it. Like, we didn't see anyone else. I did hear the name, like, Virtuous was working on it, possibly.
Well, Kojima came out and made a statement along the lines of... Metal Gear Solid was never my game. Metal Gear Solid will survive as long as there are fans of the series.
Which is totally true.
It'll survive long after I'm gone.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of put into that role, and although he did it well, it wasn't his thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But because we talked to discuss, like, I'm a big Metal Gear fan. I have been for thousands of years.
I've played all of them but the first one.
Really? Well, isn't that advantageous? Because I got excited by Metal Gear Solid Delta, and then I was backed up with the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection, where they're bringing the first games 1, 2, and 3. So number 1, number 2, Sons of Liberty, and number 3, Snake Eater are coming to your PS5 in the fall of this year. That's US fall, so like in our spring, so back quarter of the year. However... These are the original games. There are no alterations. These are not remakes or remasters from my understanding. It's essentially the PlayStation Classics emulated version of 1 with the fancy, just the back compat version of 2 and 3 that you'd see on the Xbox. However, it is not like the substance or the substance sort of extra fancy editions of the game either, of 2 and 3. Yeah. So that's a bit of a bum.
So MGB puts in the chat, 3 was definitely a strange choice to remake, but hey, at least we're getting the collection. I believe 3 is chronologically the first
Chronologically, it's the first one. And so technically here, we're not playing as Solid Snake, we're playing as Naked Snake or Big Boss. So it's kind of, it's the game that, if you've never jumped in it before, it's the one that sets up the rest. So very similar to like Pulp Fiction and like fucking scattered ass timeline. Like Metal Gear has had a really interesting chronological time where like 1 and then 2, but 3 takes place before 1, but 5 takes place between 3 and 1.
Yeah,
it's a whole. It's like Fast and Furious. It's absolute chaos. But so it makes sense why you would go 3 first, and it has a lot of really cool, interesting mechanics in it as well.
I want to throw out that the collection was announced earlier this week.
Oh, and also part 1, I should say.
A 3-in-1 game package containing Metal Gear Solid 1, 2 Sons of Liberty, and 3 Snake Eater. Though Konami has teased that fans should, quote, stay tuned for more information. However, a PlayStation Store listing has kind of spoiled it, saying that Volume 1 lineup features the original titles beginning Metal Gear series, including Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. This essentially makes the package a modern console version of the Metal Gear HD collection released on PS3 and 360.
Well, I've never played the original Metal Gear and Metal Gear Solid Snake because they're the ones that set it all up.
Yeah.
That'd be exciting. Like, I know that if you bought the Legacy collection on PS3, it had them in there. But obviously that's a tough one to get a hold of these days, and plus the is PS3. What I'm hoping that because this is obviously part Volume 1, what I hope is Volume 2 gives us Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid Acid, as well as Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots, which is stuck on PS3 right now. So I hope that comes across in some way and we can play all of them on our current gen consoles. God, I'm excited if that's so bad. You have no idea.
What was the next on the list?
Next up was I wrote Tears of Aghasaba because I'm racist apparently. No, I have no idea how to pronounce the other word, but it looked like, it looked like Avatar meets Zelda meets I don't care.
Well, I can't even find it because I don't even know what the fuck the last one is.
Just go to Push Square and just like, is there a showcase list or something?
Yeah,
Oh, of course, yeah. And there'll be like Metal Gear Rising, or Mega
No, Rising and
Revengeance.
Revengeance was fucking terrible.
No, it was
Yeah,
fun.
no, they were shit. They had one cool mechanic and
They like that. They just ran into the ground. But does that mean we also get Metal Gear Survive as well? The multiplayer like game service. No, the game's fucking boring. This next one. Final Fantasy 16, Max.
yeah, like I said, it's no surprise it was there. The game still looks fucking cool. They showed, I think, what was a new trailer. The game's out in like what, 3 weeks. I'm keen. I've been keen for Thingo. Apparently, rumor has it this will be the last numbered Final Fantasy game.
Well, because apparently there was a bit of a scuttlebutt this week that they were like looking at taking away the numbering. That's all right. It looks fine. It's one of those things where the game. I discussed this during the stream. Like stylistically, there are things about Final Fantasy that always look rad. Like watching the kaiju fights here, like Efrat looking fucking boss. Like, ooh, you look fantastic, but I know the second I play you, I will hate you. That's coming out June 22nd.
June 20. Yeah, I think it's already gone gold, hasn't it?
It has gone gold. So everything is just getting sorted. So one of the big claims they made over the last couple of weeks was no day one patch.
Yeah, apparently it's so fucking polished, doesn't need a day one patch, which is rad.
So there might be bug fixes, but no full blown day one patch. And I think it may be in the hands of reviewers in the US, very limited. Hopefully we're playing it soon. What are you mumbling about?
I'm reading the showcase announcements, trying to work out what the fuck you've.
Yeah, Towers of Agrabah.
Towers of Agrabah.
It's just look for towers because Agrabah is the name of the city in Aladdin, and I doubt that's the name of it.
Are you talking about Tower of Fantasy?
Nope, that comes later.
Is that anime weeb game?
No, that comes later.
Oh, is it Towers of Aghasaba?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that sounds more likely to be Towers of Agrabah, doesn't it? Massively racist. Oh, this is the one that looked like Tears of the Kingdom. This is the fucking Zelda one.
Look like fucking Zelda meets Avatar meets I don't like it.
Fucking PlayStation Zelda. I'm so keen for this. This really excited me. It's coming out in what, 2024, I think it was.
Yeah.
This looks cool. Why didn't you like it?
Yeah, just delay it. Who cares?
Why do you hate fun things?
So farming in it. It's fucking Zelda.
I'm sure there will be.
Hope there better not be any weapon degradation in this piece of shit. Or
you literally gather resources and build settlements.
I remember. I actually remember in the stream. I was like, "This game fucking." But I get to do settlement building. Okay. I think that was the exact moment my brain went, "Oh." Next up was Alan Wake 2.
Oh man, Alan Wake 1
coming from Remedy.
Fucking good game.
I need to go back and play it.
Do you have the fancy?
Yeah, we got the remastered edition to review.
It's so
big thank
good.
you to the team.
It is so good. I played it when it originally came out on fucking Xbox. It's so good. American Nightmare wasn't so great.
I might play it this week. That might be my thing. But this comes out October 17th or 11th. My handwriting's disgusting. I think it's 17th.
Yeah, I think didn't MGB put in the chat, didn't expect Epic to publish it. Didn't Remedy and Epic make it?
Epic, I think Epic own Remedy now, I believe. Because there was some chats originally about maybe PlayStation will buy Remedy, but I'm pretty sure Epic own them. And what I do love though is one of the cuts, you see the creative director of the studio in there. So he's the same guy that they used the face model for Max Payne. So to see him in high rendered in the trailer was very funny.
There you go. Remedy has signed a deal with Epic Games to publish Remedy's next 2 unannounced video games, one of which are now announced.
Alan Wake and Control 2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that game looks mad.
Yep.
He looks very much. I actually called it Alan Wick by accident.
He's got some roughage.
He's got some roughage. He's got a suit on, black suit, black shirt, black tie, typewriting. He's got amnesia.
They killed his dog.
They did kill his dog. It's brutal. Next up was Arse Creed Mirage. Mirage.
Yeah.
Nah.
I think it's gone back to its roots, isn't it?
Yeah, October 12, 23. It looks like it's going sort of in that Jerusalem-y sort of energy from the first. Yeah.
I think we're back to Albasim. I think that was the character from the first one. Like 30 Assassin's Creeds ago.
No idea. The next one was Revenant Hill, which I didn't write anything more about it, so I forget what it's about.
Fucking Revenant Hill. That's Grandblue Fantasy. Mate, it would be really cool if these were in fucking order. Okay, that doesn't even... Oh, Revenant Hill. That's
that
why
one
I
too.
can't find it. Not Reverent. Fuck. This is the cat game.
Oh, yeah. So apparently you play, it's like a side scroll. It kind of look like Inside, but not. And very Coraline-ish. But
If you like the cult hit indie game Night in the Woods, then Revenant Hill should be on your radar.
no, apparently same team.
Yeah.
Next up was Guardable Fantasy, which looked... I'm pretty sure this was the mech weeby one.
You mean Grandblue Fantasy?
Yeah, my handwriting's disgusting. Grandblue Fantasy, don't care. Crossed off my list. Whatever, don't care. Next up, Street Fighter 6. We saw a bit more of the sort of story trailer and sort of some of the characters. Cool. Next up was a game called Ultros, which I don't know what that is. So I don't care. Moving on. Then Tower of Fantasy, which was the super weeby mech game. It can suck my bum.
Oh, so Ultros was the game whose art style's designed by the same guys, Hotline Miami.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Then there was from Capcom was Dragon's Dogma 2. Now, weirdly, I always get Dragon's Dogma and Slay the Spire mixed up, even though they're totally fucking different games.
Dragon's Dogma is Monster Hunter, the RPG.
Yep,
The
and
open
Slay the
RPG.
Spire is a card game.
Yeah.
So I'm just a dickhead. And the Sultan Sanctuary, I get that one mixed up too. That one looks interesting. Looks cool. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 2 is coming late 2023.
It'd be really weird to have a Sony showcase without a fucking Five Nights.
Which is absolutely true. I'm not going to tell my son about it because he likes these stupid character horror games. So this is coming to PlayStation and VR, which is exciting for those that care. And that's when we transitioned into the PSVR 2 area, where we saw Resident Evil 4 in the VR mode. It's currently in development, so no date on it. It looks to be the the Resident Evil 4 remake, very similar to Village. So it looks fantastic. I want to play it for 5 minutes. Probably want to vomit. So that's exciting. Arizona Sunshine 2 looks cool, but once again,
wasn't the first one like amazingly good?
Yeah, apparently it was really good.
It was on outdated tech.
Yeah. But apparently, like, the problem that I had with Arizona Sunshine 2, none of that was gameplay. That was entirely cinematic. So I looked at this and went, none of this is real. Cool.
It's just the guy playing the VR game.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you look at it and, like, the way you interact with the
mean.
world is inorganic. It doesn't seem like gameplay. Next was Crossfire Sierra Squad. So one of those sort of squad-based, Call
of Duty VR
games. Synapse. Coming from End Dreams, July 4. Beat Saber is out now.
Free upgrade.
And thanks to them, I got a copyright strike on the live stream because they did some Queen.
But free upgrade.
Free upgrade's pretty sexual. That's pretty
good. You
then
didn't sing hard enough over the song.
No, I tried really hard, but
you could have just fucking muted the stream for like.
Yeah, it would have made way more sense, wouldn't it?
45 seconds.
I didn't do it. Next up was Bungie coming in with their return to what I didn't know at the time was an old IP with Marathon. Do you know much about this, Max? Being the Bungie, well, I guess you're more of a Destiny fan than a Bungie fan. Right?
All I know is that there was a fucking ARG in there. There was a QR code in the trailer that led to an ARG that apparently reveals 35 pages of lore in a new video. Yeah, I know little to nothing about this. I believe it was back in like the 90s, the early 90s.
Yeah, like early to mid 90s, there was some game. I don't know much about it.
It was on the fucking Apple Mac. So it clearly can't have been that good.
But yeah, so it's gonna feel like a new IP because it's been so long. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Then we get Destiny 2. We see what is to be their final. The 10 years of Destiny 2 have been supported. This looks to be their final big expansion. It's called The Final Shape. And we get Nathan Fillion's return as Cade 6.
Which is fucking weird because Cade 6 is dead.
He's super dead. And then he was replaced by Nolan North for a hot minute there too. So,
so my theory is the last 4 DLCs, we have been in a dream.
Oh no, are they gonna do that? That'd be weird.
Because the last raid was literally called Root of Nightmares. Like we've been killing our nightmares, and we're gonna wake up and Cade's gonna be alive.
We've been sleeping this whole time. What a giant cop out that's gonna feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, horrible.
The final shape is the pillow covering my face.
Yeah, the final shape. The final shape is your sleep paralysis demon in the doorway.
I really hope that's not the case.
No. Then we saw Firewalk, right? So one of the most recent acquisition into the PlayStation first party studios. It's coming 2024. It's called Concord. It was once again a cinematic trailer, a CG trailer, like a lot of CG, very limited fucking gameplay in this fucking conference, by the way. Yeah, it looks cool. Kind of another space game. So apparently Firewalk are also working on a PvE sort of live servicey game, PvE, PvP live service. So cool, but once again, it's not coming out for another year. So at least we know of one game that's coming past fucking Spider-Man. It looks cool, but there's nothing to pick from it. There's nothing to know. Then we get a Gran Turismo trailer for some reason, because we had so much fucking just spare time. Then old Jimbo comes back out and he essentially confirms what was the Q Lite, which is the screen with the controller on it. A bit more information's come out about it. As we knew, it's a streaming device.
Apparently, it has 4 hours of battery life.
So it's literally just a PS controller ripped in half with a screen smacked in the middle of it. It aligns with I remember some patterns we saw a number of years ago of a DualShock 4.
It's a shitty Switch.
Yeah, it's a subpar Switch, but with adaptive triggers. Then we saw the PlayStation earbuds as well, which I don't like earbuds, so not a thing for me, but the case is fucking pretty. Stylistically, it matches with everything, which is brilliant. Then finally, we get Spooderman 2! It closed out the show with a really long gameplay footage, which was great. At the start, I was like, is this Spooderman? I don't know. Is Spooderman?
That's so Craven.
And then I went, in my head, I'm like, that's Craven. I didn't want to say anything. It looked like a dickhead. And then someone in the chat went, that's Craven. I went, oh, thank Christ, it's Craven. All right, cool. Whew. But yeah, so we see Craven. He's bored of hunting people in whatever jungle he was in. So do you want to go hunt
Hunt in the concrete jungle.
Hunt the concrete jungle. So they show a picture of Manhattan and New York, and we're like, here's Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Lizard, and fucking Vulture, and so he decides it takes him 6 months to get there, but he gets there. He's like, I'm gonna fucking murder a bunch of people. But then we also saw Miles, which was exciting, but then we also saw Symbiote Spider-Man, the Secret Wars black suit. Exciting. So we see a demeanor change in Peter Parker. He's a lot more aggressive, a lot more sharp. Even down to his moveset's really cool. A lot of weird tentacly things. He saves someone, but then just kind of throws them to the ground. He's like, just doesn't let them walk off. He just grabs them and just fucking face plants them into the concrete. We saw a Lizard who looks like a giant, a modified Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. I'm itching for that game though. It looks good. I felt like the gameplay was the overall coverage was a little long. Still want
they did give a lot away.
But once again, the last time when they did Spider-Man, they gave a lot away too. And we still don't have a date. It's still just fall 2023.
Soon.
Yeah. The answer is September or October.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your thoughts on the Spoods? I was already sold, so it's super easy.
I was already sold. The first two, I guess now we can say, with Miles Morales being this kind of secondary, smaller experience. They were tight. More of the same. Like as long as it plays as well as what it did, they can do no wrong.
Yeah, and like it looks like they've added some traversal extras with like the wings from like Spider-Man. Was it Spider-Man 20 something
2042 or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
2042. Yeah. I remember that from back in the day on Cheese TV.
Get them glider suits out.
And look, apparently like the only reason they couldn't do that in the previous game was because of the power of the PS4 was insufficient, because the speed at which they need to, because like going from Spider-Man on PS4 to PS5, like you can feel like that speed being a much bigger thing as the game has to render the blocks. But it looks like we're going to be getting outside of Manhattan as well. Like we'll be able to go in Spider-Man Unlimited. Thank you, MGB. Like we're able to go over into like Jersey and like Queens and sort of like the more suburban areas of New York, the state, outside of just New York, the city. That's pretty exciting. I don't know how you're going to like. I do love in the trailer, very similar to the Amazing Spider-Man, that just cranes conveniently where there needs to be. So he can swing across the water.
It's better than the old school Spider-Man where you could just fucking web swing into the sky.
And there's what did you hit? I don't know, a plane, I guess.
It looks so good.
It looks great. I want to play it, that was already a given. It's one of those things. I guess that's not the only downside though, is that because I want to play it anyway. Like it doesn't feel like it didn't have that big impact at the end, like it should have. You know what I'm saying? Crimson in the chat goes, I'm already chalking Spider-Man 2 as an easy Game of the Year contender. I do think the Game of the Year contender, the discussion will between Tears of the Kingdom and Spider-Man, and I do think Tears of the Kingdom will win purely based on its environmental sort of build.
Its ability to make robot dongs that shoot fire.
Yeah, like that. Robot dongs do tend to steal the deal for many people. That's for this man. But yeah, look, so we've been chatting for about an hour and a half of this, about a roundabout. Like, do we really want to dive into these other parts of the news? Because they seem pretty long.
Okay, look, I'll just quick summarize them.
What if we just hold them off until next week?
I mean, we can, but I can quick summarize them. They're not that big a deal.
Okay, rip through them.
Okay,
quick bitty them.
Quick bitty them. Factions wasn't there, and basically, by the sound of it, Jason Schreier from Bloomberg was releasing a article saying that the development on Factions has slowed down, and that a lot of the people that were working on Factions has been moved to a different IP inside of Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog released a statement saying, hey, we're not really happy with how it's tracking. We're still working on it. It's not cancelled, but we want to do it right. Hey, this game was announced 4 fucking years ago. Like, come on. All we want is what was Factions in the first game, but we want it to look prettier. Like, just give us the same game. I don't know about you. I think you were the one who wanted, like, what was it? The fucking division of Factions?
Yeah, man.
I don't want that. I just want what Factions was, but I just want it to fucking run real good and look real pretty. Next up, Sony confirmed in their business segment meeting that they're aiming for at least 2 major PS5 titles every year from now on. This is with their, like, 12 live service titles in production to be released by fiscal year 2025. Cool. And apparently Jim Ryan claims that they're doing some aggressive cloud gaming plans in the next few
months. They kind of have to after the entire ABK fight was about cloud gaming.
Yep. So yeah, not too much. It's a shame that Factions wasn't there.
So yeah, a lot of those things sort of tie into the showcase. We'll touch upon a couple of things here as well. So as we discussed, like at the start, like, oh, we feel that, maybe our expectations were too high. I disagree. The fact that they were so fucking quiet for the last 2 years, they created this excitement. They created this hype, right? They didn't set up expectations, and the only expectations we heard will blow your fucking balls off. So I would argue that a lot of the problems with this showcase are the things of where's Factions? Where's the possible Uncharted? Like, where is everything that would make you want to buy a PlayStation?
Yeah, I was hoping to see what Corey Barlog was working on, because he obviously didn't do Ragnarok. So what's he been doing?
Like, I understand. I do appreciate their, like, we'll show you when we're ready. What's
Bend doing? What's they've got so many studios that we kind of still don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, and I understand that there's a lot of stuff that may not be ready, but, like, why not say these are things we're working on? Like, we know, like, there are things that we know, right? And I could just, it's frustrating in that it like I don't believe it's coming from a place of, you know, what all referred to as the PS3 arrogance, like oh, we can do whatever we want and it'll come out okay. I certainly don't think it's that. I certainly hope it's not that. Like, I understand, like, is it them having to play their cards close to their chest because of the ABK deal? Is that why it's been taking so long? But if this is what we have been building towards and it's this, the fuck?
I mean, you know, they claim to have 12 live service games in production to
we
released.
saw two. Well, we saw two in this.
2025, and we saw 2 of them.
Yeah.
Like, what's fucking Bluepoint been doing?
Yeah.
Since Demon Souls, what have they been working?
It's been almost 3 years since Demon Souls. It's more than enough time to show something. And we know it's not the Metal Gear remake because it's going cross-platform.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, it's once again, it's expectation on our part as the consumer, as the viewer, as the enthusiast press. But I'd also disagree, and in that this is your showcase.
Yeah.
The idea of they've got some stuff they're going to show next week at the why? This is your moment. This is your fucking place. Why hold off for some other fuck's conference, right? Like, yeah, so they could drone out Xbox in their thing, but if Jim Ryan said about this more aggressive moves and they want essentially their world domination, this is not how you do it. You swing for the fucking fences. You give us 2016 PlayStation Showcase at E3, where we got God of War, where we got Horizon, we got Days Gone, we got like Arkham VR, we've got so many fucking cool things back to back to back to back to back. No one had any left room in their pants because they just fucking filled it with like woman, man, they juices, right? Like, the humidity in that room skyrocketed because of all the extra, like, hot, heavy breathing. That's what we need. And that is not what PlayStation are doing right now. And, like, I appreciate them showing off these interesting sort of, like, gimmicky things. Like, here's a controller thing. Like, they're offering enough sort of extra peripheral. It kind of adds to the overall boutique feel that is PlayStation branding. And that, it's all stylistically connected. It's very Apple. Right? Like, Apple has a bunch of fucking random little extras and shit that you really don't need, but like the right suckers, this guy, will probably buy them. Right? But it is, I really despise the overall secretive nature that is the games industry. Like, I don't know why it's got to be so fucking bullshit, but I know that, gamers are just the worst people in the world. So having them on your bad side, or the internet never forgets, so like showing something and then it getting cancelled, that sort of stuff is rough, because especially as many, like the movie industry as an example, where like they announce things way in advance, but once again they don't take 5 years to come together, even though if we look at the MCU slate, they've announced stuff that's coming out forever.
Yeah, but that's also,
is there any complaints I've missed out on there, Max? Fill me in.
No, so just to go off what you said about Marvel announcing their shit so far in advance, that's also detrimental. Like, I don't need to know shit that's coming like 8 years in the future, because all of that shit's going like up in the air. Like,
yeah, look, and granted, like Bethesda did it with Elder Scrolls, and they've been annoyed ever since.
Yeah, like a lot of people were like, "Where's Wolverine? Why would they show Wolverine when they have a game releasing this year?"
That's also a Marvel IP, yeah.
Like, why would they cut their own lunch, essentially? But yeah, again, they until we know what's happening with this ABK stuff and how much Sony's being quiet because of that, it'll be interesting to see. I do expect to see some big things at opening at Summer Games Fest, because I have a feeling that there's just going to be more viewers that way. They're going to hit a bigger crowd watching.
But why? You talk to your crowd.
Yeah, but if your idea is dominance, you don't want to just talk to the people who are already in your ecosystem. You want to fucking win over the people that aren't yet.
True. Yeah,
I wanted more, but what we got was fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
It wasn't a horrible showcase. It was fine.
But once again,
it was like a fucking Phase 4 Marvel movie. It was okay.
No, but that's like the shitty ones. It's the DLC to the main campaign, because the main campaign finished with Thanos. All right, let's get into the games that are coming out in the next week. On the 30th of May, we get Company of Heroes 3 on your PS5, Everdream Valley on your PS5 and your PS4. That sounds like a farming game. Far World Pioneers, PS5, PS4. Kind of sounds like a farming game. The Caligula Effect Overdose, PS5. 31st of May, we get Gunfire Reborn, PS5, Laser Pitium, PS5, PS4, Undead Horde 2, Necropolis, PS5, PS4. The 1st of June, we get Homebody, PS5, PS4, Killer Frequency, PS5, PS4, Skatebird, coming to PS4. 2nd of June, EA Sports, Super Mega Baseball, PS5, PS4, Shantae, PS5, PS4, Street Fighter 6, PS5, PS4, and We Love Katamari Reroll Plus, Royal Reverie on PS5. What?
Shantae.
Shantae. Well, if your name's Shantae, you don't say it as, hey, I'm Shantae. Like, you add flair to that name. That is a flair name. Enchanté. Welcome to the stage, Shantae. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us this week. We went way longer on the fucking showcase than I expected us to.
I didn't. I expected this to be a long one.
It was good. But let us know
which is why I did fuck all for the news.
Yeah. Well, let us know what your thoughts are on the showcase in the comments below, or hit us up on our social medias. We'd be more than happy to chat. But yeah, it's all good. But yeah, as I said, we appreciate everyone coming and taking the time to watch the show live, as you can over on Twitch, or listening to it on or wherever you happen to listen to our show. We do appreciate each and every one of you. As I said, we understand that we have a very small pool of vocal individuals that happily watch our show. Like, I got a lovely Instagram message as well from someone being like, hey man, like, when you come to Sydney, why don't you just put the PopC account on my console and you can play at my house? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, that's actually really funny. Like, you made me chuckle a little bit. I totally forgot to reply. So shout out to that dude, whose name escapes me. But, like, we do have a very small, like, sort of, vocal fan base. But I look at those numbers, I know that there's a lot more people. We don't have thousands and thousands and thousands, but, like, we do have a good hunk of downloads each and every week. So we appreciate those that do tend to listen to the show without reaching out. We know we love you, and we appreciate you. And it's the same as those that do come in and get all chatty as well. All right, Max, what you got to do?
Alright, everyone. This PlayStation conversation happens every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on podcast services, including Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you'd like to take part in future conversations with us, come and check out our socials. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter, all of those links can be found in the description below.
If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to twitch.tv/The Bob Culture, where you can watch us record this show live, where you can jump in the chat and become part of the show. If you want to support the show, you can. Tell your friends, tell your family about this PlayStation pod. If you are listening on podcast service, be sure to give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If you watch us on YouTube, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I endeavor to answer every single comment. If you want to support us financially, you can at patreon.com/popcultures, as well as our merchandise store, popculture.com/shop, where you can buy shirts and other sorted shit with our logos on it. But until next week, we episode 300, and we're doing absolutely nothing for it.
Naked stream.
Ooh.
Hot tub stream. I could totally fit a pool in here.
Oh, hot damn. With that gigabit internet, we would upload that in full HD, 8K. 8K, you and my boobies in a pool. Hot. Actually, I might do like an open Q&A show. I'll post it up early. Episode 300. Who wants to throw us some questions? But until then,
Sounds like fun.
I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Max Cooper.
And that was for the players.
You.
Oh, it's a PlayStation. We should go meow because they just love fucking kitty cats.
Oh, fuck that shit.